around it, which gives you this white stuff right here. And that's what the pearl is. So the longer it's there, the more thicker it is. So the Morimoto pearls that's from Japan that cost almost they're the best pearls you can get. You have a really, really tiny, probably even smaller than that, right? Everything else would be that, which is calcium carbonate. That's how you know that it's real pearls. The pearls that cheap, they literally give you or put in big gigantic sand, and it's just like one coating around it. So that's how they know one from the other. Okay. So if you look inside, okay, it's a stomach. You can tell which one is the stomach, and that's that. The greenish brown gunk that has the kidney and the stomach included in it. Now this one, because there's really not, you couldn't like decipher from like color wise, right? If you see this part, can you open it for me?
I don't have any gloves on.
This is going on YouTube.
So right here, right, if you look at this part right here, okay, right here, okay, so this is this part right here, number 5. So what is number 5? It's your intestine. So now you don't, remember before it was all just digestive gland, right? Now you actually have a system with intestines, not just a big gigantic stomach like what you have on the starfish, okay? So there is now a change. So instead of having, you now have the respiratory, right? And then you now also have the digestive system. And then the one thing we didn't look at is, where's the heart? Is there a heart? There's no heart, okay? Not yet. So again, how do they circulate all that nutrients is through the same way that the crayfish do it, and it's an open circulatory system, which means you have one vein, right, that goes from the gills, and literally it washes all of the organs at one time, and then it gets suctioned off again, back up. So it's an open system, okay? So that's that. So let's go ahead and go over here. So we ended with, right, gastropoda, which is the mollusca. Then we go into the echinodermata, we went through there. And now we're going to go to the class Insecta. What phylum?
Arthropoda.
Arthropoda, right. Both this,
Lunch. Dinner.
okay,
whatever.
so the crawfish, or crawdad they call it, right?
Mud bugs.
Louisiana, and also the grasshopper are all in the same phylum, okay, Arthropoda. But what class? What class is this one in?
Crustacea.
Crustacea. So it's in the same as lobster, which is kind of like a smaller. This is a smaller lobster, and also crab, right? And then in the same class, you also see the inside, right, which is a different class. This one is Insecta. What's the difference? One is in water, one is in land. So now there's going to be two different things that's happening, right? And here's where it's going to be. So this is a girl. How do you know it's a girl? Yes, the yellow stuff is the ovary. So those are the eggs. Okay.
Tastes good.
Yeah, so if you look over this way, you see that, for instance, this part that we actually took out right here, that's the gill. This is what they call the carapace. Again, it's an exoskeleton. Remember, we didn't have any skeleton at all. It's all hydrostatic skeleton, and now we start having a skeleton on the outside. So it's more for armoring. The other thing that you also saw here, there's really not what we call an armor, right, besides the actual shell. But here, now you not only, it's kind of like now you change it a little bit so that it could also fight, right? Because you now have your little claws. And then it also swim, because you have little swimmerettes on the bottom, right, to go in and actually swim. And literally they do this. Okay, kind of cute. But if you look at it, there's similarities from your insect, in this case the grasshopper, in this part, and that has to do with, let's see here, the outside. Okay, you need to make sure you guys know the difference between how many legs each thing has, because each of the legs tell you. There's one that has 8. There's one that multiples of 3, multiples of 4. So you need to know which one is which. And that would classify it to what class in the arthropoda. Okay? So make sure you guys hint know what that is. So if you look inside of it, you can see that now we have a heart in this case, but it's still part of the gills. Okay? So they still need it to run through the gills. And that's that big thing right there in the middle. Oops. Yeah. See this? So now you have
Sorry.
a respiratory system that's attached to the circulatory system, but again, it's still an open system. Because what it does, it goes and just moves all of your blood through each one. And it's actually called lymph. And it's not red in color like what we see. It's not blue in color. It's actually just greenish, whitish color. That's why when you squish it, you go, oh, that's white. That's why it's white. Okay? Is there anything else? So if you look at it, I'm not going to go in and, because this is not it's not invertebrate as in the class itself. I'm not going to ask you each of the pieces, but you might want to make sure you know the antennae, right? There's 2 of them, and they use that for function-wise. They use it to kind of feel. They're feelers, what's around them.
Oh, those 2
okay,
long
those
things.
long things right here. And then, of course, you have those 2 claws up on the top, right? And then you have your swimmerette on the bottom. And so all of this are here to be able for the animal to actually walk and swim and go to places. So there's a difference. Not moving, moving a little, and now starting to be able to move because now they could exploit places. There's no more food here, they could now move. Okay? Got it? Okay, let's go move on. Let's go to the next one. We are now the grasshopper. Okay, so then we changed the food, right? So digestion also changed. The place actually has changed too. So now you don't have what we call gills. You now actually have what we call book lungs or small lungs or primitive lungs. We are not going to show you that because show them what the inside look like when it's all dissected.
It's just a bunch of gunk.
You can't tell the difference
There's
from
like
what it
nothing
is.
inside.
Right, but there's actually something inside. We just don't know what the
Oh,
parts
yeah.
are. That's right. So if you look at the feet on here, right? If you look at how many of this do we have, right? There's how many multiples? There's 4, right? Over here there was 3. Okay, multiples of 4, or and then 3. So there's the difference, right? Because why wouldn't you need? What's the one thing that actually changed from here to here?
Land.
Jointed legs.
The what?
Jointed legs.
Yes, the legs have changed, right?
Wings.
The wings had changed. There's no swimmerette anymore. That was the thing that actually that hooded part in the back of your crawdad, right? That's the one that's used to kind of swim, or in this case, if you think about the propellers, you might think to kind of stabilize it, right? You don't have that here. Why? Because now you changed it to become the flying part, the actual wings to be able to fly. Okay. Again, it's kind of, I always think of it like, okay, there's really no water per se, but the wind or the air is kind of like their water, be able to kind of move around. Okay, so that's that. Key thing here that you guys are going to need to know, again, the big parts, right? The front, what did I call that?
Antenna.
The antennae. Again, what is the antennae for?
Feel.
The feelers, correct. And then, of course, your wings, right? And then I'm not going to ask you, like, they have specific parts. They have mandibles and so on. Why is that? See, before, they don't have that over there. Okay? They don't really have mandibles, but they do have the big claws to kind of crack whatever it is that they're opening. Now, here, they literally don't have those claws anymore, so they need to be able to actually open things up. So what do they use? Their mandibles. Okay, so the mouth is now more, it's not primitive as that one. Okay, so let's move to the perch. Oh, wait, no.
Frog.
Frog. Well, no,